Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a fantasy movie review and I'll be having a look at the movie Dragon Hunter. So Dragon Hunter is one of these kind of very low budget fantasy films that you kind of see popping up on the Sci-Fi Channel and sort of direct to DVD and stuff. Now the story really focuses on two brothers that escape their village when a dragon attacks and end up going sort of on the road and meeting a bunch of other warriors and who end up banding together with them. To find out that the younger brother actually has a sort of destiny to sort of become a dragon hunter, and the older brother is kind of has known this all along and has been sort of trying to protect him from his sort of destiny because he's afraid for him all this time, and is ultimately over the overprotective sort of big brother. Along the way they face orcs, kind of an evil sorcerer. Now, so this isn't going to be anything particularly new to anyone who's seen some of these sort of lower budget fantasy films. But I've got to say, I actually quite enjoyed this one, to be honest, compared to some of the other ones that I've seen. And I read some reviews about this before I actually did my own review, and they tend to be fairly negative. But I have to say, I actually think this is maybe a little bit underrated. Now, I'm not going to suggest to you this is going to be a fantastic fantasy film. And I always say with these films, I have to base it on the budget. And this is obviously a lower budget film, but for what they've done with the money that they have, I actually think isn't too bad. Now, it isn't without its problems. It is a bit cheesy. The special effects sometimes are going to be a little bit ropey. But the dragon isn't in it all that much, to be honest with you. It's really only in it within the last sort of 10 minutes of the film. But I didn't think the dragon effects were that bad, to be quite honest with you. They kind of look CGI, but they always do in these sort of lower budget films. So I don't really detract too far from this. But I guess the main two issues I had with this film are firstly the characterization of all these different sort of people that we meet. There isn't really any. They're very much kind of cookie cutter characters with no real depth in them. Pretty much everyone is the same at the end of the film as they are in the beginning, if you know what I mean. The main sort of character is the dragon hunter himself, who is the younger brother. I think his name is Kendrick, and when we sort of first see him, he's kind of this bit of a wimp, but doesn't really know what he's doing. And I guess the arc, if there is one, is really based on him. But to be honest with you, you still get the impression he's really a bit of a novice, and and he's ultimately sort of trained throughout the sort of film really, and becomes this sort of dragon hunter towards the end. But to be honest with you, he's really the only one that actually really goes through any type of arc really, and even that I thought was a little bit forced. The other main issue that I had with this is more of a technical issue, and this is the thing that bugged me the most, I've got to say. When you have fight scenes, and they fight orcs a few times in this film, and it's mainly when they fight them, the camera goes into a mega shaky mode. And like you've seen sort of shaky cam before in sort of films, but this one goes way over the top, and you just can't see anything. And it genuinely makes you just think, what the hell am I watching? It looks like someone's throwing a camera down a hill, and it's literally just like spiraling out of control. You just can't see anything. It's absolutely terrible. I don't know why the decision was made to do that. I'm guessing to sort of hide the fact that obviously maybe the choreography wasn't fantastic, or there's lack of blood, things like that. But that unfortunately does look very, very bad. Okay, so the positive things about this film, you've got a lot of different sort of fantasy archetypes in there. You've got obviously you've got dragons, you have orcs, you've got an elf girl who I think was fantastic. She looked great as an elf. She's just I've never seen the actress before or anything else, but she's this tiny little woman with like a very sort of a slight build. I think she makes a fantastic elf, to be honest with you. And you kind of got this big black guy who's meant to be like this sort of berserker, who's almost like the Incredible Hulk. Kind of goes into like this rage and sort of becomes sort of like almost uncontrollable and things like that. And he was quite cool, I got to say. Quite good sort of different characters for the budget that they had. And as I say, it does try to ape Lord of the Rings a little bit, especially when you have the sort of the orcs running towards the camp in sort of kind of slow motion, very reminiscent of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I have to say. But otherwise, I thought it was a relatively entertaining film. I think the acting wasn't too bad, if a little bit wooden at the times. But I don't expect fantastic acting for these kind of level of films. But for the budget that they have, I didn't think it was too bad, to be honest with you. And most of all, it was an entertaining, and the story was fairly interesting. and not too long. It was well paced. It was fairly well shot, apart from these action scenes, I've got to say. And overall, not a bad movie. Certainly not one of the classics. I probably wouldn't ever bother watching it again. But the time I have watched it, I actually fairly enjoyed it. So I'm going to give this one a 5.5 out of 10. Very underrated, I've got to say. And there's certainly worse films like this in this genre. Anyway, leave me a comment. Have you seen it? And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.